Right, I'm back. Let's make a start. I thought what I would do is, excuse me, I'm just going to have a drop of water. What I would do is start by making the front cover for the book. Now, I was going to use the tonic ones, but they just didn't look Halloweeny enough. So I went in, sorry, I just ran up the stairs because my post arrived. They didn't look Halloweeny enough, so I used my X-cut ones. I found them right in the back of all my old dies, and I've used those instead. And what I've done is I've just cut them out 4 times each and stuck one on top of the other to bring it out, okay? Now these I found, I went down and had a look in my Halloween, I went in my garage and just had a very quick look in my Halloween. I've got loads of stuff down there, and I found some old bits. This was an old skull that was part of, oh, it had a cape on the back of it. It had all gone horrible. So I thought I'd take that off, and I thought what I might do is if I get time, I'll paint this and show you how to use those mica colours. Because they look, I mean, it depends what you're looking for. If you're looking for something more realistic, you're going to do something like this, but you can still use all your products to make it look spooky and, you know, more realistic looking. But I will show you afterwards the one I bought and what you can get. Right, these were wooden. I made last year an Annabelle. I don't know if anybody has seen the real Annabelle, The Conjuring. I actually made a casing exactly the same. It's a replica of the original Annabelle case that was in Lorraine and Ed Warren's, still there, in their haunted museum, you know, in their museum. And I actually have an Annabelle, I actually have an original Annabelle doll. So I did that last year or the year before last, and it took me 3 months to build this case, which is an exact replica of it. So you never know, maybe I'll put that out. It is in the garage, it needs a little bit of restoring. But so I originally bought those for that, and then I decided no, I want it to look like the original, so I didn't use them. So we're going to use them on here. They're just wooden, you know, for woodwork. They're just for, you know, for woodwork, but they're going to work perfectly on here, and this is what we're going to do. Right, so let's move these out the way, and let's just show you how we're going to make this front page. And we're going to do it exactly the same as we make our, how we would make our memory books. We're not working on the book, especially with this one. So all I've done is I've taken a piece of cardboard. You don't want your cardboard too thick, right? And I've roughly cut down the sides, and what I've done is I've just run my pencil over the corners. If you've got a corner cutter, you might be able to go in there with a corner cutter, but I've just run my pencil over there, and I'm just going to cut those in just so that we've got the shape of the book, of the memory book. Okay, we're just going to have a look at that and just see how that is. Remembering, oh, it's not bad fit, is it? We want to try and keep, I'm just having a look, it looks better on the camera to see. Don't worry about the edges being too neat, because we're just going to go over those. I'm just going to trim these bits down a little bit, just a little bit, because we're going to get, let's just get this bit as well down the corner. We're going to get, it's quite hard to cut actually. Normally I do this with a craft knife, but we just want that to, just because we're going to put some tissue paper over it, so you can try and get it as neat as possible, but that's what you're looking for. So let's move our book out the way now, and then we can start on this. Now this is going to be exactly the same really as what we did yesterday. Okay, it's exactly the same process as what we did yesterday, only we're working on a piece of cardboard instead of the box. I just want to keep that's better. Right, so you could use your, I didn't think about that, I haven't plugged it in. Is it plugged in? No, it's not. Okay, Never mind. Right, I've just taken all these off now, but it was just to show you to cut down these. So your next thing is just going to be putting it back and rearranging where you want everything to go. So, silly me. Now, I do want this to come off, and I haven't really thought about this because I'm wondering whether maybe I could stick this on after. Because I'm not sure I do want tissue paper over the top of that, because we don't really need it. We can put black on that. So maybe I'll just keep it there just for reference of where I'm going to put everything. So we're going to lay these all out just to where you want them, and use all your dies, you know, use all your dies that are in your stash to, you know, we have so many, and we just, you know, how many times do we really get them out? I should check that I've spelt this right. I'm sure I have my spelling. Album. I think that's right. I hope so. It'd be terrible if it wasn't. So you just want to lay it out just how you want it, and then you can go ahead and stick down your pieces. Now, you could go in, it probably would have been better actually to go in with a glue gun here, but hey ho, we'll use our Nouveau glue, you know, so this is going to stick anyway. So we're just going to pop that, so you don't have to be too worried, because we're going over this anyway, aren't we? We're going to put tissue paper over the top of this. But this is going to look really good. And I was thinking, you know, you might be able to do this for other projects. This is really specifically to get this sort of haunted look, isn't it? But, you know, I was thinking on it, and I thought, maybe you could actually use this doing other projects and not making it so, you know, as a spooky theme. I'm just trying to think, you could probably do a really lovely one for the children, a children's book. If you're going to do a memory book for, I don't know, a baby or a young child, you could make these with little tiny, you know, you get all these little plastic toys that you know, don't throw them away. You can use them as long as you can cut them down, then use them. But this is just a really fun idea. I think I've got so carried away with Halloween. I'm so pleased I started doing it again, because honestly, I did used to do some fantastic displays. I've got an 8-foot witch in the garage as well that I did, and I latexed all, what's happened there? I've not got enough on. I latexed all her face, and she's still in there. She looks quite good. Some of the other decorations are a little bit, they need a bit of attention, but it's too late now to do them. But I am going to really get back into doing Halloween, because I do like it. And it really, I'll be honest with you, I have to say, really, it was my forte. That's what I used to do, was Halloween projects and books. I found the book that I had done, but it definitely needs a bit more attention now, because it's looking very old, and it has been in that garage for such a long time. In fact, some of the Halloween stuff that's in the garage has actually got real cobwebs. It's got real cobwebs all over it. So it looks really authentic. You know, one year I did a really gruesome one with all hanging body parts and, you know, lots of red paint. Lots of red paint and lots of that, what's it called? Like, it's like a varnish, which kind of makes it look like it's real. I also have seen the cauldrons. Who's seen all the cauldrons they've been doing? Wow, I love them with the installation foam. You know, I think this is really where my passion sits. Don't get me wrong, I do like making memory books. You know, I do like making all these things, but my passion really does sit with, you know, building things. Let's just stick that down a bit better. Doesn't matter because we're going over this anyway, remember, with tissue paper, so you're not going to see all this. I hope I can get this page done. Right, so I think because this is the top, I'm going to just remove that. But what I thought I would do is, you know, we did this yesterday. This is going to be quite difficult because it does take a little bit of drying. Oh dear. It does take a bit of drying, so hopefully I might be able to dry it. It's not dry, it is plugged in, I think, so we're all ready to go. But I thought, again, maybe just to cut, because I wanted to show you that this does shrink. We need to do a little bit more. This, when you heat it up, it shrinks. So, and this was just that little bit of scrap, wasn't it? You don't want neat corners, you want really jagged edges. Do you see? But it does, it takes some sticking down, I do have to say. Now remember, we're going to put the frog over it. Let's move that up so you can see it. But I just wanted to show you how you can just get that texture in, and you know how different it really does look, because it does look so different when, you know, you've put everything all over it. I just, again, I love this idea. I wish I would have given a bit more time. I should have started this. You know, lots of people, some people start their Halloween decorations. There was a guy that said he started his back in January. So, you know, people do. They do start. Now, don't worry about those going over the edge, because when we put the dryer to it, they're going to melt. That's going to melt right into it. And this is what it looked like before. You see? You don't have to put too much. I'm trying to do this as dry as possible. Let's just get the glue gun on it. I'm just looking. Oh, that looks that's going to look really good. See? That's going to look really good. Right. I will talk a little bit louder, but if you look, let's see if I can do this a little bit nearer the camera. Oh, my glue gun. Can you see that's just shrinking that up? This was what the pumpkins, see? Shrinks it right up. Can you see that? When you're drying it, and here, see where I said don't worry too much, because that will shrink. See? Kind of like melts it a little bit. In there. That's what you want. That's really good. But you could use plain burlap. That's just a quick dry over. You could use plain burlap with that. I did have some of that as well. But, you know, like I say, next year I will go to town and I'll do something much better. All right, a much bigger project. Let's just, hopefully this is going to be enough on this side. I'm just going to cut some paper down and tear it with that wrinkly paper. Oh, where have I put it? Did it come back with that? There we go. Right. Now, you don't have to worry too much about the back on these, whereas with the, that's fine, whereas with the, I'll just show you, the one we did yesterday, which was this one, the tombstone grave. I haven't painted the bottom yet, but I will finish it off. But look, you see, on the back, that was all that lovely, I'll turn it that way so you can see it, but that was all that tissue paper. And we just bent it all in, can you see? And it makes that lovely, that's the kind of thing that you want really on the front. I mean, we have got it, but we had a lot more, but you maybe could go over a couple of times. You just don't want to lose the writing, but we don't need to worry about the back on this because the back is being stuck down. So it's probably better actually if you don't, sorry, see my head, if you don't do the back, just cut it round because we don't want too much there. Right, so we're going to go in and we're going to cover this with glue. Okay, really, I've not tried it with this wood, but I'm pretty sure it'd be fine. I'm pretty sure you could use anything. You can use wood, you can use plastic, anything you want to stick underneath within reason. You don't want it too high. Depends how big your books are. Obviously we're just doing a silly album, aren't we? But if you were doing this for, make sure you keep the glue out of the bits where you're sticking down on the words. Keep your glue away from that part. But yeah, it depends. If you decide that you do want to try this out and doing something, you know, a bit more professional for you know, I think they'd make really good, this would be really good ideas for children's books, for the front of them, so they're a bit more animated rather than flat. I mean, I know we all love memory books to put the photos in, and a lot of you probably are a bit more traditional, aren't you? I know a lot of you are a bit more traditional with it, and you know, you're just using your papers, but this is just going to bring something else to it. I've not seen anybody do this before. You know, I'm not sure if anybody else has tried doing this, but you know, it may be nice for a children's book. I'm just making sure that I've got plenty. I haven't done this. I'm doing this off the cuff because it's just a bit of fun. So don't get any big bits of glue inside that detail because you don't want that. I'm just making sure there's enough glue on the wood so that it's going to all stick, because you want it all stuck, but you just don't want bits of glue in the detail, because the detail's the bit you want to come out. All right, let's give this a go. Now remember what I said with regards to, let's just see, you want it flat on this part, so that's where you want to stick down, and you want to push the tissue paper in, but try not to stick the tissue paper to anything else. Can you still see what I'm doing? I'm just making sure that we can see, you know, this is all pushed in by, especially in the holes of where the B is. Sorry, I don't know if you can see my head there, but you really want that pushed down there. That's important, because that's where it's gonna show up there. But now the rest of it, you want kind of scrunched. You want this real scrunched up, even over some of this. You see? You want it really scrunched, making sure you're leaving enough paper. Right? I have not done this before, so yeah. Oh, that could be quite nice there. Now, let's have a look. This we want pretty much coming out, don't we? We want all the detail in this, so don't worry if it splits here. That's fine, but you want this detail, okay? That's important. We'll get that in there. Okay, let's see what I'm doing here. And again, just here, doesn't matter, it's just this part again that you want flat. Let's just crease that. Don't worry about that as long, you must keep, don't worry about tears or anything, that's going to be fine. Okay, you just really want this part to be flat, okay, because that is where you want your, that's it. Can you see we're just pushing that down? The rest of it here we want wrinkles. I'm doing it a little bit neater than I would. I've had to scrunch that up. Now we can go in with the glue and just brush that down. I'm just licking. That will look nice actually. Just going in with glue. There we go. Nice. Try and get it flat on that, the texture of the burlap. And listen, this isn't I keep saying it's not a Da Vinci, but you know, you want it relatively neat, right? See, this would be a lovely idea. See, we're just smoothing that down. I'm just giving it a little bit of glue You don't want all of it stuck down. Having bits that stick up can be quite nice actually. They can be quite nice. But just, you'll get to, once you start doing it, and then you'll get really excited and you'll think, oh, I like this. And you'll start arranging it so that it looks a bit more spooky. Right, I'm not going to go, I want to go slightly round the back. Just make sure, I'll come back to that bit. I want to go slightly at the back because I want to cover up the sides of the, where the cardboard is, because you don't want to see the cardboard there. So just going round the edges here. This is so much fun. I'm enjoying this. I actually, I'll go back to doing this. Right, so just bring it over because we just want to get rid of the, you see the corners, and then we can just cut the rest of it off. But just bring it round. Do you see what I mean? Bring it round, because then that will just take away. So just pushing it round, and then we can, not quite like that. I want to move that before it dries. Now we're a bit sticky and wet, so I might have to come back. I might have to dry this off and then come back. I'm not going to want to sit here, but I'm just going to cut this excess off, because we want to keep this as flat as possible at the back for the front. Now the reason I'm doing it this way is because we're going to put ribbon, we're actually going to put ribbon to tie the book. I've got some spooky ribbon I haven't used. So that's really as far as we want to go at the back. We don't want to go any further than that, and you don't want, I mean, we can cut that off. It's fine if it's just, do you see what I mean? You don't want any bulk to the back. So keep that. And also as well, when you're putting glue on cardboard, sometimes it does tend to bend. So that's another thing you've got to watch out for. So just be careful. That's fine, that'll do. It doesn't have to be. But can you see, you can just now arrange that to how you want it, to how you think it's going to look. But most importantly, just make sure that this, where are we? That this, there we go, we can just smooth that down, right? You got that? We can just smooth that down because we want all this lovely texture. Do you see what I'm just doing? And that's how you're going to get your texture. Now, you could go over this. You could if you wanted to. I'm not going to. This is just a tester of a fun little project that we're going to try and do. But if you were doing it, you know, I'm just concentrating, sorry. If you were doing it for a, you know, a different project and you wanted it a lot neater, take your time with it. Now, I'm going to come off camera quickly and dry this because it's going to take a little while with the, with my dryer, with my gun, and then I will be back in a couple of minutes. Right, I'm back again. So, I've given this a little dry. It's still very wet. Now, what you can do is just manipulate it while it's at this stage, just to make it as straight as possible without sort of damaging it. And listen, it doesn't matter if you get cracks because they're all going to add to the effect. But just, you know, you can straighten this out at this point. Right, so we're going to do exactly what we did yesterday with the black paint. Let me get some tissue before I start. This could really do with a little bit more drying, but I want to sort of move on. I want to do this swiftly. I don't want to spend hours and hours on this. It's just a fun project, right? Okay, so what we did yesterday was we went over, didn't we, with black paint. Okay, now this might be a little bit more difficult because we've got a little bit more intricate detail at the top, haven't we? So you could, if you really want to spend lots and lots of time on this, really making this really haunted, really looking old, you could, maybe I will start doing one for next year and making it, you know, a really haunted book. But, you know, this is just a quick idea, and you know, if you've got time. And the thing is as well, you buy all this paint, so we might as well use up all the paint that we've been using. I mean, I've made a tree and I've got plenty of paint left from that project. So I thought, well, why not? I might as well make it. So we're going in again and covering. This is just going to be so fun. Actually, I have never done it like this before. When I did the other books, they weren't like this. This is a bit more, can you see? This will all dry anyway. It needs some drying. It really does. You must wait for your tissue paper to dry. I'm going to have to come back and after this is dried. So we're just applying our paint all over it. I will carry on doing this just in case people are watching who haven't watched the tutorial. All these bits that are coming up are good. They're really good because they're all going to add to the texture of the front of this book. I quite like these. I must get some more of these because these would be fantastic. I don't know if any of you, I have, when I was looking in the garage today, I don't know if you remember, long time ago, I can't remember, it might have been a shop that closed down here, but they used to sell these cardboard, they look like books, but they were boxes. Now, I've got some of those in my garage. In fact, I've got lots of those in my garage. And I was thinking they would look really good to do as spell books for Halloween. You know, I thought I must use those. So have a look, just have a look around your house and see what you've got. Because sometimes you don't need to go out and spend loads of, you know, loads of money on Halloween things. I'll just do this, and then I just wanted to show you this head, this luster head. Maybe I could just quickly do this while this is drying. Why not? I'll stay on camera and do this other one while it's drying. The thing is as well, you've got to remember, you can always, I will go over this because when you do it once, it will dry and then you'll find all the little white spots of tissue paper that you haven't, and then you can go in again with them. But it is important, like there, it is important to make sure that this really does dry in, okay? Let's just pop that over there, and I'm just going to show you. Let's just pop that over there just for a second to let that dry. That really needs to soak in. You'd be better off to wait for your tissue paper to really dry in, okay? You really would be better to do that. Now, this is, I might as well do this and show you this. Let's get a bit of paper because it's going to be quite messy. Just while we're here, or shall I wait? Maybe I shall wait because I'm just thinking spraying the mica, because obviously we're going to be using mica on this head. But where's what I wanted to show? Have I got it? Yes, I have, up here. Do you remember I said to you, these were in the shop called, like, sounds like Brain Breeze, you know, the food shop. This is what I was talking about. They were £5 each. But funny enough, they did do some luster stuff as well last year, because when I was looking in my garage, they had I had a luster tea light as well, which was why I bought them. But this is quite on trend still. I mean, it's not as on trend as it probably was. I'm thinking about it because last year they did do all the luster stuff. So maybe these, I don't know, well, but they're still, obviously, they must be on trend because they're selling them this year. But what I'm trying to say is you can do that. You can make, it's not going to be as metallic-y, but it's not going to be a bad shot. And I keep going on about this every single time I come on. I keep, don't I? I keep showing you this. But look, you see, you're still going to get that metallic-y look, right? So you understand what I'm saying? All you have to do is paint this completely black. Paint this skull completely black. And then you just pick a spot and you just spray, keep spraying, stop. It will run, it doesn't matter. Get your other colour, which other colour you're using. Pick another spot, spray, and just keep picking spots. And what will happen is it will stick to the black acrylic paint. And then once you've done, it will look like this. So I think I'll come back and do that actually. Let's carry on with the spell book. I was going to do it, but it's going to be quite messy. So I'll come back and do that one. But let me just dry this off, and then let's come back and see what we're going to use on it to see how we can bring it up for our front page. Right, we are back and we are all dry. Now, I just had a thought. I had a little bit of a crack here. You can't see it. I mean, listen, this is just a bit of fun, isn't it? It's not it's not anything, you know, exciting. But I just thought if you wanted to do this as a front page for your books, you know, this could be really nice for all these children's memory books that you're making. You could paint this, you know, in completely different colours, bringing it out, you know, personalise. I was thinking about it. You could personalise, you could put their name on it. You know, Ben's album, Joshua's album, Sophie's album. This is really good. This is actually a really good idea. Might have to try that. But what you might be better to do, just if you were doing it for that reason, you know, you wanted to do it, you know, in a better way, not just for fun, then put some glue in your black acrylic paint so that it glues, because the acrylic paint after a while will chip and chip and chip. So it was just an afterthought. If you're going to do this, what other colours we got? I think I quite like these ones. I've got the micas, haven't we? Right, let's bring this out first. Yeah, just use, actually, should we use a different colour? Because we're always using the gold. Let's go for this lovely blue and see what this looks like. This one is Pacific Teal. But yeah, you could do these. I might have to try one and show you, because I know sometimes the vision of it you might be, what? That's going to look really strange, but it won't. It'll look really nice. Right, should we go in with this blue? I haven't tried this, but I thought this is quite nice. Might be quite nice for the, instead of using, you know, we're making a fun spell book, so let's go in with the blue colour. Right, remember what I said, dab it off. You want it really dry. Oh, but not that dry. Oh, come on, mister. Oh, why are we not getting a nice coverage with this? Oh, that's better. That's better. I think I just hadn't sort of rubbed it in a bit. But yes, we're getting nice coverage with this. So you can see all the detail coming out where do you see what I mean? There we go. We're starting to see it now. So it's all going to come up. But do you see what I mean? You could do these. I'm not quite drying here, but you could do these if you're using a different, you know, colour. You don't have to paint them black. You can paint them blue, pink. You know, you don't have to put all this underneath them. You can put like little, you know, toys, and it could be really nice. I like this. I think this with some green. But if you look, this is going to look lovely. Do you see? Here we go. Do you see why I said it's nice to keep this, you know, keep it flat? So you're still getting all this lovely detail of this wooden, I don't know what it's called. They're really for fascias, aren't they? You know, for when you're doing woodwork, maybe even for, or they might even be for ceilings, but I can tell you they are really, really cheap. If you go on to, I don't know why I'm not saying them, you know, but if you go onto eBay, we all know, you can get them there. You can get them on eBay. They look, you know, for next to nothing. Again, I promise you, I'm a very frugal, like I said, crafter. If I don't have to, if I can get away with buying things cheap and making it cheap, I do that. I don't, you know, I really don't spend a lot of money, especially on these kind of projects. You want to be as cheap as possible. Now, this is coming out really nicely. I think I might leave this as blue. Let's just, should we get a bit more on? Just to get that out just a little bit more. You can see how this is coming. Do you see what I mean? This is going to look really good. This is actually going to look like quite a fun project. Sometimes, you know, when you're doing these fun things, it gives you all these lovely ideas and you start thinking, oh, this looked good, that looked good, I could do it for this. I just want to bring out the lettering on that bit more. You can take your time, you know, you're going to take your time. But do you see, I just want to go around this part here, just bringing out these last little bits of detail around the edge. It's a bit more here. I just really want to bring this out so you can see how and how good it looks when you bring some of the tissue off the paper. How creepy it looks. Right, let's just wipe my finger and show you. Now, oh, my little one's just got up. Here we go. Now look at that. Do you understand what I'm saying? Look at that. That's really fun. And that is going to go. Should I pick it up and show you? That is going to go on the front. I hope it's nice and dry. Oh, it doesn't matter if it's not. But there you go. That's going to go on the front of our album. Do you see? And we're going to, that's the start of it. Actually, it's really good, doesn't it? So have a look in your, you know, crafty stash, see what you've got. Sometimes you get little tiny ones of these. You can buy from Sounds Like the Dirks. You can get little small ones. But do you see how good that looks? And that's going to be our front. We're not going to stick that on yet. We're going to stick that on at the end. I turn them to the side so that you can just see them. But look at that detail. Right, now do you see what I mean by not going over it? It's okay for the sides, but keep it flat at the back, because when we stick that on, we want that stuck down really nice. But can you see we're going to really, now that's going to come together. So right, what I'm going to do is pop away and I'm going to do the spine now, and I'm going to do exactly the same as what I've done, using the same method. I might just go over these afterwards, just bring them out a little bit more, but I'm going to do the side. So we've got the front and the sides done, and then I'll come back and just show you how we're going to put these other ones in using the wooden frames. So this is going to be quite a hard book, but if you were doing this properly and you wanted to do it for a child, you know, like I say, personalise the name, so-and-so's album. This is a really nice way of doing it. And just visualise it without, you know, the Halloween theme. Visualise it as, you know, little girl theme. And maybe put, I don't know, little bows, you know, and then just bring them out. You've got all these lovely colours, you see. You've got the blue there, but look, you've got all the pinks that you can use. And it will make the album as well a lot harder. Do you see what I mean? So anyways, right, I'm going to do this side, I'm going to come back, and then we'll just do the inside pictures. We'll put those in and just do the frames. So I'll come back and show you what I'm going to do with those.